today we're going to talk about our gas detectors that we have here at the Vermillion Fire and EMS. We have two different types here. First we have the Altair 4X, which is a 4-gas detector. Then we have the MSA Altair Fire CO, which is a single gas detector solely for carbon monoxide. First we'll talk about the MSA Altair 4X. We've had one of these in service, which is this one in Chief One's truck, for a while now. Recently we just purchased two new ones. They are these kind of peach or yellow colored ones. They're actually glow in the dark. First off, on the outside, here we have the charger port, the charger here. As you see, the two brass knobs on the bottom and the two prongs on the charger simply slides in like that. Then you unplug it just simply by pulling. Then we have at the top a ring so you can attach it to your gear. If you have a carabiner or something of the sorts. It also has an alligator clip. This can be clipped onto your SCBA harness, clipped onto your coat somewhere, anywhere you can get it clipped. On the front side, we have the digital readout display. Then we have the power button here, and we have selector buttons. We have an up and a down. And here in the middle, this hole, that's the speaker. So when it goes into alarm mode, that's where the sound is going to come from. And then up here, we have these three louvered slots. That's where the air is entering the detector. That's where the sensors are. Up here at the top, on this side and this side, are the lights for when it goes into alarm mode. There are also lights here at the bottom that will flash when it goes into alarm mode. And on the right hand side, when it's in normal operating mode or reading mode, a green light will flash there every 15 seconds. So now we'll power it on, which is the center button. It's just a simple press. When you power this on, it tells you who made it. It's an MSA Altair 4X. Gives you the software version. And now it's going into sensor discovery mode. When it's in sensory discovery mode, the machine is checking the sensors that are in it, and if it's the right ones. You'll notice the little hourglass there. It tells you it's working, so you can't do anything with it while it's working. Then it goes into its setup mode. It's going to tell us what our low alarms are set at, what our higher alarms are set at. Then it gives us our STL, our TWA, and we'll talk about those later. It gives us our time, our date, our last calibration, which was on February 12th. And then it asks us for FAS. We'll talk about FAS later. And now it's in, as soon as that quits blinking, it'll go into normal operation mode. Right now it's in reading mode. As you'll see here, this is what it looks like in normal operation. We got the battery sensor, or the battery gauge there. Has 4 bars in it. Each bar is a quarter of the battery life. Then it tells us what 4 gases it's reading. First off, we have O2, or oxygen. Then we have combustible or explosive. We have CO, which is carbon monoxide, not CO2, carbon dioxide, but carbon monoxide. Then we have H2S, which is hydrogen sulfide. And again, the little green light that'll flash up here every 15 seconds when it's in normal operation mode. So we're in normal operation mode, and you just seen the green light blink. That notifies you it's in normal operation. Also with the green light, you'll feel a small vibration, noting that it's in normal operation mode. Now we'll see if we can get it to go into alarm mode. This is what it looks like in alarm mode, as we noted earlier. The flashing lights at each corner. You can see the oxygen is coming back up to normal mode. The oxygen's at a safe level, but it'll stay in alarm mode. We can also cover the speaker when it's in alarm mode and quiet it down for talking on the radio or talking to your crew. The detector will stay in alarm mode until you tell it to go out of alarm mode. And how we do that is we want to push the up arrow, and that'll clear the alarms. So we push that. It says reset alarms. So now we're back to operating at normal. Another feature with the MSA Altair 4X is using the down arrow. We can go through and check our levels that we were at. So this is our peak level. It shows you the little mountain peak up there. At the peak level, it'll show you the peaks of all your gases. And then it gives us our minimum, and that's just the minimum on the oxygen. We can't check the minimums on the others because they're at 0 would be the minimum. It'll give us our STL. We saw that in the startup mode. STL is your short-term exposure limit, which gives you roughly, it goes on a time of about 15 minutes of your exposure limit, and not suffering any effects from toxic gases. And then we got TWA, which is the time-weighted average, which goes along with STL. Time-weighted average is a span of usually, this is more so for the mining industry and confined space work. And then you can scroll down to the time, the date, motion sensor is off, and then we're back to the home screen. That is the basics of the Altair 4X. To power it off, what we're going to do is we're going to hold the power button, and it's going to give us 3 beeps and an off message. So you got 1, 2, 3, then the off message. So now we're going to talk about the FAS, or fresh air startup, that we get in the startup mode. So we power it on. It's going to go through its same thing. MSA Altair 4X software version. And now it's going into sensory discovery. We talked about that earlier, where it's sensing what sensors it has in there for which gases. Giving us our low alarm levels, giving us our high alarm levels, our STL, our TWA, our time, our date, our last calibration. So now it's asking us for FAS, which is fresh air setup. So we want to, if we're in a fresh, clean environment, we hit the up button. An FSA environment would be most likely being outside. If you're in the truck in a route, simply power it up and ignore the FAS, because when you first initially power it up, what is happening is the sensors are reading what environment it's in, and it's zeroing off of that. So the FAS should only be used when you're in a very clean environment, which would probably be outside. The 3 Altair 4Xs or 4 gas monitors that we have, they will be on engine 2, engine 3, and this one will be in the Chief 1's vehicle. And that's the Altair 4X. Now we have the Altair Fire CO, is what it's called. It's just a single gas monitor for CO, carbon monoxide. The outside of it, same basic thing. Has the alligator clip on the back, has the D-ring to attach to, has the same warning lights up top here. And then here's the speaker and then we have the sensor port, and the power button is right here. This one is very simple to operate. Simply turn it on. You got to hold the on button. It'll give you a couple beeps, goes through what it's doing. CO, parts per million. Gives us our alarm. Gives us our higher alarm. Our STL. And our TWA. This also has a fresh air setup option. You can just let it be, and we're monitoring right now. For the single gas, simply jump in the truck, hit the power button, power it on, and you're ready to go. You can do the same thing with the four gas. Power it on in the truck while you're en route, and you're ready to go. So that's the MSA Altair Fire CO, or as we refer to them here, the single gas. Next, I want to talk about our CO report sheets that we have here at Vermillion Fire and EMS. These sheets are located on all the trucks. The front page is for our use. Gives us our location, our date, incident number. Gives us a symptoms checklist of the homeowner or the occupant. Asks them what they have done since. Did we shut off the carbon monoxide sources? Did we let fresh air in? If yes, for how long? Was the parts per million acceptable? Yes or no? Put the reading down. Then we have a location checklist for where we found the CO readings. You may have multiple readings at multiple locations. Down here at the bottom, we have it asks for our detector model, make, and serial number, and our officer in charge at the bottom. Then we have a second sheet, which we leave with the homeowner or the occupant. It just notifies them of the dangers of carbon monoxide, what time we were there, the location, the date, and if we found any carbon monoxide, and then it asks for the highest levels in parts per million. And then down here it explains to them what does this reading mean. We issue it, we sign it, our badge number, the date, and then they sign it and date it themselves. So that is the basics of our gas detectors that we have here. Just remember the 4 gases will be on engine 2 and engine 3 in Chief 1's vehicle. The single gases will be on engine 1, the rescue, and all the ambulances.